Okay.
No. This is going to end terribly, probably.
That's fine. You can let me know if you don't want it to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the one you want to talk about? Did you guys just finish a hike or about to go on one?
We just finished one on the way back, yeah.
Cool. How was the hike?
It was good. It was
Nice.
good. I enjoyed it.
Sweet. Did you go?
Do you sit out here like all day?
Yeah, for a few hours. Yeah. I have a cart and I get everything set up and it's good. So, could I get your first name?
Nathan.
Nathan. Gotcha. My name is Reed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Gotcha. So, cool. Time it here. So, how do you feel about this?
I don't think it should be.
Should not be illegal.
Or it should be illegal.
It should be illegal. So, yes. That's a yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It should be illegal.
Should be legal.
Illegal.
Illegal.
Yeah, so abortion should not be allowed.
So this is a no to this question?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. So, no, it should not be legal.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So, let me think. Just to get some basic definitions, like what is abortion? Just in case people don't know.
So abortion, right? Like, it is the ending of a pregnancy at any point post-conception.
Ending of a pregnancy, any point post-conception. Okay, so that should be illegal for any woman who is pregnant. They should not be able to get an abortion. Okay. What's like the main reason why you feel this way?
Because ultimately, right, like the question of abortion comes down to when does human life begin, and when human life starts, at that point it becomes murder, right? Like most people, because there's Carl saying, but he's a different story. Most people will acknowledge that you cannot kill an infant in the cradle because that would be murder. The only difference between an infant in the cradle and one in the womb is that they haven't been born yet, but they're still a human life, right? Like the entire question revolves around when life starts, and the current popular position on abortion, which seems to be more and more often, which is that you can have abortion right up to the point of birth. Then you can still there's no logical consistency to that, because what does the birth canal confer that 5 seconds beforehand you were just a clump of essentially cancerous cells, is the way that most people see it, but then 5 seconds after you're now human life worthy of protection. There's no logical cutoff point other than conception, which makes abortion not murder.
Gotcha. So I'll just try to recap what I'm hearing you say. It really comes down to what's considered a human life.
Yeah.
And that is starting with conception, and there's really no difference if a child is in the cradle or in the woman. So it really comes down to when life starts, and ending that life would be murder outside the woman. So it should be the same thing inside. Okay. So it's about life and death. What would you say? Like, what does it mean to die? Like, what is the definition of death for a human being?
The ending of life, ostensibly.
Ending of life. How do we measure that?
I mean, typically it's measured by brain activity, and it's measured by heartbeat.
Measured by brain activity and heartbeat. Brain activity.
Well, heartbeat more than brain activity, because even someone comatose, it would still be considered alive.
Yeah, if someone's comatose, there's no or very little brain activity. Is it possible for a human heart to be beating with zero brain activity? I don't know if that's possible.
Well, I don't think there'd be zero brain activity, because there's still some of the peripheral activity of that runs your breathing and your beating heart and etc. But no, there would always be some brain activity, even for someone in a comatose state.
Yeah, if that did happen for some way, would we consider them dead? If their heart was still beating, but their brain activity was ceased?
Well, they're brain dead, they're brain dead, but that's not exactly the same thing as dead, right? Like if you stab a brain dead person, you would still be considered a murderer.
I guess so, brain dead. There's a difference between brain dead and
properly dead.
And properly dead. Okay. So it should be not just brain activity. It should be complete. What would it's a heartbeat? Anything else besides that?
That's the heartbeat and brain activity are the two most often definers of life, really.
Okay. So, is there any point in a pregnancy where a baby does not have a heart or a heartbeat?
The heartbeat typically starts at 6 weeks, which is why in a number of Jewish traditions it's not considered abortion prior to 6 weeks. But they still have they have a potential for life, and it's not ultimately it shouldn't be someone else's choice to make when that life ends. Right, like, because they have, from conception, they have a separate set of DNA, and they are their own growing body. And so even though for the first 6 weeks you don't have a heartbeat, there's still the potential of life that becomes life.
There's that potential of life. Okay. So when when a baby is conceived, it's not, but technically. It is alive because it's a live cell,
right?
But it's not technically up to that legal point of life.
It doesn't have a heartbeat, no, but it is still a living thing.
It's a living thing.
Yeah. Right, like, because it's living and growing in a way that when an adult's heart stops, it isn't. Because when an adult heart stops, everything ends, everything else shuts down, everything else decays. For the first 6 weeks, even though there isn't a heartbeat, it's still alive. The cells are still growing.
So it's a potential life. If everything goes as it should be, it's going to turn into a fully alive human.
Even saying potential life is a little bit. It's still better to say that it is a proper life, because it doesn't have a heartbeat, but it is growing in a way that an adult who doesn't have a heartbeat isn't still living.
So it should have equal moral worth with full adults, even at conception.
Yeah.
Those, like, just the cell, one cell.
Because there's no other really rational point where life can start, and right ultimately when because this is a human, and one of the great triumphs of Western civilization, right? Like, is the idea that human beings they're made in the image of God, and they have worth, and they have life, and this is something that starts from the moment you're born, right? If not, you go the Carl Sanger route, where, well, you can kill a baby. He's a moral philosopher, I believe.
Peter Singer?
Peter Singer, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm terrible with names.
No worries.
But he makes the argument that you could kill someone who's 1 or 2 years old because they don't yet have proper adult sentience, and it's, well, but then that's proper infanticide, and that's where abortion ends up, because you keep defining life upwards until, well, you're 5 years old, but you couldn't survive if we just stuck you in the middle of the woods, so I guess it's fine to kill you then.
Yeah, Peter Singer's argument is around the quality of sentience.
Right.
There's like a range of sentient creatures. Right. Humans are like at the top in terms of their ability to suffer. And rocks don't suffer.
Right.
So it's fine to do whatever to rocks, but the capacity to suffer is a consideration for what's moral in his mind.
Yeah.
So that's why he considers abortion even after birth. Like, if it doesn't have the capacity to suffer for some reason, then that would be fine in his worldview.
Right.
But for yourself, even like that one cell, I'm sure that does not have the capacity to suffer, but it's still worthy of protecting.
Yes.
Okay. So it's about protecting human life, potential or otherwise, just life. And this is a legal, not an ethical question. what would you consider like a good policy to be around this this question? Like, if a woman got an abortion, like if a woman took a day after pill or whatever, or morning after pill, would that be on the same footing as murder in your mind?
Well, I think that, and I think that it's more you go after the provider side, not so much the taker side. So you go after and you make the availability of abortion illegal. So you prosecute the doctors, you don't prosecute the women who get them.
You prosecute whoever provides the services to have an abortion. Okay. If a woman does not have access to those services, would we predict women to not try to still try to abort in any way?
I mean, it's possible. Yeah, sure. There's just because you make it illegal doesn't mean there won't be back alley abortions, but that doesn't mean we should just make them legal, because then you could use the same logic and say, well, we've made murder illegal and people still murder, so I guess we should just make it legal so that people can murder more safely.
Okay. So even if we make it legal, it's still not like just like murder. It shouldn't be legal because it's still that hands of a crime. So women might still get back alley abortions, and that might happen, but it's okay. For women who survive getting an abortion, should they be arrested in your mind?
Well, typically it was very common to have where you don't get arrested, but you can be compelled to testify and held in contempt of court, right? Because the pleading the fifth doesn't apply if you're testifying against someone, not yourself, and there's an exception for spouses and a few others, but you can be compelled to testify, but the woman herself isn't going to prison. She is she's sending whoever gave the back alley abortion to prison.
Yeah, like if she took like the typical thing is like a clothes hanger, and like successfully prevented her pregnancy, had an abortion just by herself, and in some way the police found out about that, what do you think should happen in that situation?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I don't know that she should go to prison for that. I mean, like you can. There's a certain level of you go after the higher priority targets first. So there's always going to be some back alley abortions, and there's going to be difficulties, but the legalizing of it, which just makes it easier, just exacerbates the problem.
Should contraception be included in these things that are illegal?
No, because contraception, it prevents the pregnancy. It doesn't end the pregnancy after it's begun.
It prevents the conception. Even morning after pills, should those be illegal?
Those are. I'm not entirely sure. I would lean towards yes, but I could be compelled to go either way on that one, because it's a much easier question than.
If those were illegal, it seems like that would imply a lot more pregnancies would happen. But it would also, if life begins at conception, that would also include a lot more murders or infanticide. So that's something to consider. Sorry, I forgot to get your sense of confidence on it. How do you feel on a scale from 0 to 100 about this? If 100 is absolute confidence, could not be mistaken. 0, no confidence.
On this one, I have absolute certainty on it.
Absolute certainty.
Yeah.
Okay, you can move that little tag to whatever best represents your confidence. Okay. And, okay. Is there anything you could learn to find out to change your confidence? What would have to be true? Or how would reality have to be in order for this to be possible?
I don't think it can be changed because to make abortion legal just means you would have to redefine what life is, essentially.
Life.
Yeah, redefine what human life is, and I don't see that really happening anytime soon.
Okay. Okay. Let me think. How do you feel about like end of life policy?
Like euthanasia and that sort of thing.
Yeah. If someone was brain dead, you said if someone stabbed a brain dead person and stopped their heart, if that was possible, that would also be considered murder, even though they're brain dead.
Right.
And it seems like if someone's brain dead, they are guaranteed to not come back to life or like to regular brain activity. Like, what is it? What makes a person or life valuable? Like, what's the value in a brain dead person?
So you're asking, like, what makes it worth keeping them alive, I guess?
Yeah. If all of whatever makes us, fundamentally is in our brain and what it does. I don't know if you agree with that, but yeah.
As far as like the euthanasia and the end of life care, I'm kind of two minds about that, because on the one hand, it's your own life and what you choose to do with it is your choice. Right, like it's not abortion where you're taking someone else's life. You're choosing to take your own because you tell the doctor that it hurts too much and you're terminally ill anyway, so you may as well end it before the pain becomes excruciating and when on your own time. But then at the same time, and this is where religious views matter, that right, the Western tradition that we are humans made in the image of God also means that because we are humans made in the image of God, He's the one who gives us life, and it's not our place to take it. It's His place to take it in His time because He made us and we're His. So
it's not our place to take life because a God gave us life, and it's up to Him, whoever, like He made us for a purpose,
right?
And we have no right to intervene in that way. Okay. With the brain dead person, even if God wanted that to end up that way, is there anything left of that person that God or even Western tradition would fundamentally care about if that person is gone in terms of their brain, or does he have a soul inside his body?
He does have a soul. He has an eternal soul that which is separate from the brain, but in answer to the question, I wasn't sure where I was going with that, but yeah, he does have an eternal soul that's separate from the brain.
So it's the separation of the soul from the body, and presumably there's still a soul there if the brain is dead, but the heart's still beating. The soul is still there. So ending the heartbeat would be removing the soul from the or just whatever that means. Well,
ending life, I'm not sure it's as clean as that, right? Like, because the heartbeat can stop, but if you start it again, the person can still live. So it's not as clean as, well, if the heart stops beating for 5 seconds, then the soul leaves.
Yeah, like brain dead plus heart stopping.
Right. When you're properly dead, yeah.
Properly dead. Okay, so it seems like at bottom it has to do with God and his ideas of what makes life, what makes a human valuable. Is that conception, God made us with a purpose, and that we have no right to intervene in that way. Okay. So I guess if you see me again, I'd love to chat about God, possibly. But I think we've hit the bottom of this topic.
Then the question just becomes, does God exist? Which maybe I should have answered that one, but
yeah, that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole different one.
Cool. Well,
which I am even less capable of answering than this one.
Well, no worries. I understand your perspective. So that's what it was all about. Well, thanks a lot, Nathan. It was very nice.
Oh, it was fun to chat.
Sure.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Can I ask you your personal answer on the question? Is it a yes or a no?
I think I'm closer to Peter Singer. I think the capacity to suffer is what is morally relevant.
So you think that aborting at a month, or which would be 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, they don't feel that either?
If it was severely deformed or in such a way where they could not suffer or would likely end up having a lot of suffering in that short continuing of their life, then sure.
So you would say that if 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever, the doctors could have detected some deformity of that human, you would, and they wouldn't live long after being born, you would say that it's okay to abort? Like it would be a medical abortion?
Yeah.
Maybe
If we found some type of deformity where we would be very sure it would not live, and it's before the point of brain activity, then that would be fine. Yeah.
I just wanted to know, just because I'm with him, so I have the same answer.
Cool. Yeah,
I just wanted to know where you personally stand.
Yeah, when it gets down to religious reasons, that's a whole other topic and a whole other the system of like if that was true.
It's not a whole
then
other topic. It's what drives this question.
Yeah, it's like
that's what drives me. So when I answer that question, I'm not really answering that question.
And if that was true, then I would have a very different opinion as well.
Right.
For sure.
All right.
Gotcha.
Well, let's go.
Thank you.
I'll probably see you
Okay,
again.
bye.
So I'll bring more friends to answer more questions because I won't.
Bring us another one.